Wow, well, I'm very glad to get back to this one. Because it's great. Okay, select adventure. And here you can go to the right and select the part 2 of our great journey. Oh, Soto-san.
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital. You know, his Florentine's
Did
a
her dad
truly
die?
wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court. Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
What? That English woman.
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life.
What?
As a lawyer.
Oh, we're gonna replace Sato-san. Really?
So please,
What? She's
I
dead.
ask for your guidance.
Oh, it's Kazuma.
Kazuma.
We're gonna replace Sato-san. Whoa! The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. 13th of August, 8:26 a.m. Supreme Court of Justicia. Defendant's Antechamber 3. Wow. We are gonna play Sato-san. Oh, here I am again after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Justicia, Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Oh, her daddy's not dead. Oof. Oh, good you're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh yes, good morning, sir. I hardly could recognize you. You got a fine figure, counsel. But you look as white as a sheet, and those wide eyes aren't doing you any favor either. Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous. I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born. What? Oh, goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Oh, Eugene Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. A man who earlier in his life traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advance in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. My father. Excuse me? Who's that? Oh, who are you? Oh, would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today? Yes. That's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication. This whole thing. Ray Membami. Born the same year as I, and my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the university research laboratory. Helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. Oh, come on. What's with all those people being accused of murder? Oh, are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed. Oh my! Oh, well, it's just that you look so gallant and dashing. Sorry? And when I'm fallen under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. Wait, what? Oh, it would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. Are we wearing a disguise? What? What? Oh, wait. What do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? If even your best friend can see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Wait, what? Disguise? Oh yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? What? Is that you? Susato? Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't say something sooner, Ray. No! What are you doing? What's going on? What? That varsity uniform, that varsity cap, that varsity cape, that varsity badge. Look at you. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial Yuma University. A male student. Is this? Kind of reminds me of Utena there. Are we gonna see her already? I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 this morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Oh well, you see. It was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial. My defense? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside a courtroom. Really? Oh well, that was a long time ago. Oh, despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato, you'd go to such lengths for me. It's interesting because they're speaking about a lot of issues. Well, they're mentioning a lot of issues. They're not really addressing them, but it's interesting. Much more so than the previous game. The first game. I don't really play the other ones. Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. Oh Ray. It's so strange though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet, just because you're a woman, you're a wretched what a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Ray, please don't look at me like that, with those flustered cheeks and darting eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, you really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice. She's gonna fall in love with us? Oh, you should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man. I am pleased. I think. It certainly helped bolster my confidence today. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. Oh, Susato. You do believe in me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder. Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence. Which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. Defense lawyer. Oh, that means so much to me, Susato. Defendant, counsel. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. Man, they're so cold, those guys. You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty. Oh. Stand aside! Oh, I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. Well, Susato, you certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom, and with no prior experience of being a lawyer. Oh, there was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. I mean, they don't even check who she is? That's kind of weird. Oh, but father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Lei doesn't know how it came to this. Oh, yes, quite right. I've get that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burden her with that. And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Is it really because of who the victim was? We should be making a move now too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student. Oh, thank you, father. Wow! Oh, I'm Sato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times have I wished that he were here, I wonder. Oh, this outfit really doesn't do any good for him. I'm gonna have to change that. Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Oh, wish me luck. Naruhodo-san! Naruhodo-san! 13th of August, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom 1.
This court is now in session to hear the trial of Lei Membami.
The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency.
Ah.
Defense counsel, are you ready?
Yes, Your Excellency. We are ready.
Ready? Ah, yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is,
Ryutaro Naruhodo. Is that correct? Ryutaro? Ryutaro? Hey, wait. Isn't that the name of... the actual name of Phoenix, right? Ryutaro? Sorry? Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you for this little venture. So I'm afraid to say I simply put down the first thing that sprang to mind.
well, counsel.
Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I'm Ryutaro. He who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. She looks as, phased as, Rinsuke.
Oh. It seems that Ryutaro may need to consider how better to uphold his maniac first, and not overdo it. And those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax, you understand?
Naruhodo? A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, or would that Persians be?
You may be thinking of Ryusuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain, as part of a study program. This is, his cousin. That's right, Ryutaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers.
Any of them? What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call in a country boy. How dare you! Sato is every bit as gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her. Huh?
Oh, please be careful, Lei.
What a refined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he's not.
I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, eyes won't flit. Wait, what? Like it or not, eyes are wont to flit? What? I don't know what that means, but okay.
case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire.
Oh, just like the trial of 9 months ago. And yet, for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock. Dear me.
Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense, to determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, where a certain other Naruto stood where you're standing now. This same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions?
Alright, it's time to prove myself. She has the armband as well. Yes, Your Excellency, but please do make them simple.
Very well. To start with, you will state the name of the victim.
Ooh, that is simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried.
Oh, she forgot. What's the matter?
Oh, now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else than Ruhoro-san goes through. Like it or not, minds are want to blank. Want to blank? Minds are want to blank? What?
It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position, and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances.
Oh dear, this is a dismal failure.
Don't fret. You need only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem.
Huh, of course, the court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case in the court record.
That's right. Just use RB to open the court record. Then you need to flip the people section with RB. And don't take too long over it. His Excellency is watching you closely.
Alright, check the court record with RB. That's what the information I need will be. Postmortem report. Oh, wait, I want to read the postmortem reports. Victim, Jezzael Brett, female, British. Time of death, 11 of August at around 2 p.m. Ascertained by examination and witness statements. Cause of death, single deep stab wound from behind, piercing a lung and resulting in fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes. Notes, extreme meiosis. Pupil constriction was observed in the victim in both eyes. Is this supposed to tell us something? I don't know. Okay, who are the people involved? Okay, Yuji Mukotoba, we know that. Rei Membami, our best friend. Jezzael Brett. Okay, the victim of the case was a former British exchange student. 9 months ago, she was found guilty of the murder of visiting professor Dr. John Wilson. Taketsushi Auchi. Oh yes, Auchi, I remember your name now. The lead prosecutor of this case, who appears to be struggling to accept the changes afoot as a result of these turbulent new times in Japan. The Meiji era. Meiji era, yeah. The start of the modern times in Japan. The advent of modern times. Okay. Jezzael Brett. Okay.
I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case?
Giselle Brett. Taketsushi Auchi is the other one. Yuji Mikotaba is our father. Oh. The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett.
A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Oh, correct. And being a member of our empire's judiciary, you will be aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why then is her name indelibly associated with our own empire's judiciary? Sorry. Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago. But if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need is included in the court record.
Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett. Behind the woman's student persona was the face of a killer. Yes! 9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed. And the culprit was Giselle Brett.
Yes, she was a killer.
At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain. And it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred.
An Englishman, Dr. John H. Watson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotoba.
Wait, who's talking here?
Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter of the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Wait a second. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense. And exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion.
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead.
Why Shanghai?
Oh, there's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board of a steamship.
And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed.
Only the day before?
That we do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant.
Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle.
And now a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Ouchie.
I kind of like the way he moves.
As you wish, Your Excellency. The repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight. On the outskirts of the imperial capital, under a bright blue sky, at a secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut, erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung, an injury which proved fatal. There were two persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing attire, and the accused, Lay Membami. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady.
Well, that extraordinary description of events leave me somewhat lost for words, I must say.
Oh, that's certainly true. The prosecution summary was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about a powerful motive.
She's bashing the table. She's gonna be a great lawyer. Well, yeah.
You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement.
Tut. Is the yokel boy using long words he doesn't fully understand?
I beg your pardon?
No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Membami-san, you are a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe?
Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment.
I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility.
Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then?
I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson.
Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor? Who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago?
The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true?
Oh yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man.
Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the Englishwoman who killed him.
Well,
Obviously, I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred. Oh no, Ray, be careful of what you're saying. Oh. The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency.
Hmm. Well, it was clearly a trap all along.
Oh, how wicked of him to use Ray and this undying respect for a former mentor against her like that. I must find out more details, and something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about, being alone together. Remember me, son? Oh yes, what is it? Naruto-san.
Oh, I'm really starting to wish we'd made my alias Irutaro Susato.
Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place. And why you were alone with her. Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all. But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there is only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life. No. Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again.
Kindly refrain from conjecture, counsel. The prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let him go, dear.
Oh dear, this is really terrifying. But Father's right. We need more information. As a lawyer, I will ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about the bathing spot. If I may, Prosecutor Auchi. What do you want, you fresh-faced young Yako student? I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot. Ah, my apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins. Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea? For old time's sakes, I believe.
Sorry?
Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply. But But on what grounds would we agree to such a request?
Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal.
Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. In any case, it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong. Oh, but that was wrong.
Oh, but in fact, a murder took place.
I said, don't look at me. It was that young student girl who did it, not I.
No one has proved that yet. I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to. I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Pratt managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. What? Obviously, over that period, she and Lay would have encountered each other on a number of occasions. Seeing the murderer, the mentor for whom she had such great respect, enjoying such undeserved liberty. Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Pratt's extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Lei for her feelings of anger and resentment. Oh, poor Lei.
So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit. A photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
Why? Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image.
As you can clearly see, there is nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have hidden.
The court will accept this photographic print as evidence.
The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record.
As I understand it then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence.
Witnesses? But who?
One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective.
That kind of reminds me of something.
I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt.
Very well then, Counsel. Bring forth your witnesses.
Taketsushi Auchi, I've been waiting for this moment.
Sorry, what?
Oh yes, I haven't forgotten. That trial 9 months ago, here, in this very courthouse. When that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me.
Oh yeah, he's changed his hair.
Rinosuke, naruhodo.
Yes?
This insult to the Auchi family name will never be forgotten.
You've become conceited with age, Counsel, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that.
Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of cultural enlightenment's roll, and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls. What? Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died.
Oh, the start of your own mini-major revolution. Are you modernizing as well, Council?
Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the ouchy growth. You see this seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown?
Oh, I think that tiny cross is trying to tell me something.
I'm afraid I can't really see. Where? Where is the hope exactly? I said silence! Today, I face another yokel student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you. And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand.
It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. The prosecution and defense each has much to lose. A haircut is
hardly comparable to Ray's life. Oh, that's... Wait, what? 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 Both of them? Give me a sec.
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court.
Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. Wait, is it this guy? Is it disguised as a turtle? I don't...
Okay. If you say so, man. And I am, well, the next big thing in books. Another renowned around the capital. In fact, yes. Soon to be sold out. The satirical I Am a Cat. A sensational success by Soseki Natsume. Oh my goodness. Struggling student from the provinces, please. You needn't be a know of me. Oh, I need it? It's unnatural that you'd feel nervous in my presence, but all of you, please, relax. Call me Soseki, even. Yes? What on earth is Soseki-san doing here?
Tread carefully, Sato. Tread carefully, Sato. That other fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun.
Oh yes. Yes, of course. I know. Oh, I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I could certainly never forget him. Although, he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that it's been since I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe.
Yeah, it is hard to believe. Do I have something on my face?
Oh, well, your glasses for one. Although, they don't seem to be helping you see. Oh, thank goodness, he hasn't recognized me either.
Ah, I suppose it's the disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business did a writer such as yourself have being at the scene, Suzuki-san?
Well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture on the morning of the incident in the Imperial University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less. At Yume University? After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the medical science department. The professor over there, in fact. Professor Mikutoba?
Oh yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted a story or other about two former students who studied in Great Britain.
Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leaves me alone. They secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and scrap my privacy. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. He practically threw that paper at me. The Suki Natsume article has been entered into the court record. I'll have to look at it. Anyway, following my interview with the professor... Sorry, but I'm gonna have to look at that. Wait, I'm gonna have to look at that. So we have feathers. She has a pencil, a pen in her hand, and a glass of wine. She has more mask in her luggage. That's kind of funny. Footsteps. The cat? Wait. Wahagai, he's not here. He's still in London. Is it a different cat? A newspaper containing an article about a discussion between my father and Sasaki-san. The debate became quite spirited. Is there any other thing on the... No, there's no indication of anything. Anyway, following my interview with the professor, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words.
As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory, under strict surveillance, of course. Surveillance.
At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her.
The detective, I'm at liberty to divulge, was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga.
Thereby, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems.
It was extremely challenging to clear all of the members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. Oh, he's still sick, but fortunately, I'm at peak physical fitness at the moment, so I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly.
Oh my, Inspector, you... Well, you do have something on your face now.
Oh, how unsightly. I do apologize.
Does that mean that you went to the beach too, Father?
No. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it means that, as my assistant, LA was invited to take my place.
Of course. Being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. Ah, but if only I had, I'd never have seen that oversight. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret.
Very well. I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast.
Of course, Your Excellency. Oh, relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. I am...
You know what? I'm really tired. I think I'm gonna have to stop here. Unfortunately. Yeah, we're gonna stop here. And we're gonna continue tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow I think. Alright. Oh, I'm really glad that it's so interesting to have Seto-san being the lawyer. Very, very nice touch. Alright. Thanks for being here with me tonight. Please take care and stay safe, you know. And I hope to see you tomorrow then. Bye.